guest, I guess you could say. Not really special. He ain't special at all. He's dude is not special. Let's add him to the stream. King, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, bro?
How you feeling, man?
Pretty good,
man. So let's dive into some of this talk, man. I know there's been a lot happening, a lot going on, but I want to kind of get your initial reactions to what you have seen today, and then we can continue on. Everybody show King some love. Shout out to my dog who popped on, crashed the show today. What's going on? Holla at me.
Like I said, earlier, I mean, pretty much everybody when they woke up was probably, feeling a little bit down. We haven't really, made any moves. A lot of people want to see free agents, right? Yeah. But again, Trajan Langdon said that he wasn't going to make no, big time moves. He took his time. He seen what was out there. He tried to do a sign and trade ordeal. We all know about that with Dennis Schroeder. That fell through. So now here we are with Duncan Robinson. So like I said, it's not for me. It's what you're getting out of the player. It's not the specific name of the player. Duncan Robinson is a shooter. You needed shooting because of the Beasley situation. You need the floor spacing. So like I said, the Malik Monk thing, it kind of had me a little upset earlier today. I really wanted to see that thing go through. But like I said, we got Duncan Robinson. He's a shooter. We're going to need our young rook to grow up pretty fast so he can try to contribute to in the shooting game. But one thing that, I wanted to mention was Ivy, man. Ivy was shooting 40% last season. And if you look at his last 5 to 10 games, he was shooting amazing.
Yep.
So if we can get a return like that from him coming back this season, that'll be big time for the Detroit Pistons. That'll be big time for them because now you have some guys who can actually attack the rim, which is the difference between a guy like Beasley and Caris Levert. You know what I'm saying? Caris Levert is a guy that can attack the basket, that can do some mid-range things. So it's a little bit different style.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see how all this falls together. I really am.
Where do you see? Okay, we were just talking about this. How do you see Duncan Robinson fitting in, bro? Because, I saw on Twitter some people saying he was going to start. I'm like, no, he should not start. Absolutely not start.
Absolutely not.
Good shoot. I understand the shooting aspect, but no, that really compromises your identity. I think, especially not starting unit defensively. I don't see that. Okay, so let's just say he moves to the bench. Do you see him as a backup 3? Do you see him as a backup 2? Where do you see him?
Fontecchio's role. That's exactly where I see him at.
Yeah,
a guy that you can bring in to help with some shooting. Hopefully, he can be a little bit more consistent this season.
Yeah.
But just somebody you call in to try to space the floor a little bit. That's all you're gonna get out of him anyway.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna get much of anything else.
That's kind of why. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No, that's it. That's it. That's all you're gonna get out of him.
So y'all heard what he just said. That's all you're gonna get out of him. So I felt that, and this is just me. Obviously, they know more upstairs than I do. But I felt like the assets that we gave up could have been better spent since that's all you're getting from him. We always say, K needs spacing, and that is 100% true. But I don't know if getting a guy who is strictly a shooter at $16 million, using assets you could have used to go get a big, I felt like it could have been better well spent, because now what assets do you really have to go get the big that we're talking about? Fontecchio's $8 million could have been used with that. We got a couple other guys still on the roster that you may be able to package, but I feel like that was what you go all in for as far as your assets, is to secure that big spot. What do you think about that? The 4th spot?
You're absolutely right. And I'm just trying to find all the positive in it right now. I don't want to come and be, Debbie Downer, but like to me, I look at a player earlier who went to Denver and Valanciunas. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That didn't really cost much. They traded him straight up for player. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, we couldn't do nothing to try to make that happen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Was he laser locked on Denver? But we need a big. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're now in the East, probably the smallest team in the East when it comes to our front court. That's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Seeing Miles Turner just go over to the Bucks. You know, so and replacing Brook Lopez, man. So, like I said, it's a lot of things we could have did that we didn't do. And like I said, I'm trying to just give it some time to see how things unfold. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't want to just be on here crashing out, but
Yeah.
we need a big, man. I
Yes,
mean, and what's available out there now though at the big spot is the question.
yeah. I don't know. It's good. Well, the thing is, at this point, it's gonna have to be via trade
Yeah, via trade.
because they've used their cap space everywhere else. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like you. I'm trying not to read too much into it because it just happened. Obviously, they know what's going on better than we do, but I think this could. I don't think we'll really know for sure. It could drag on a little bit. It could drag on a little bit because we have until the trade deadline, which is next year, next spring. So I don't want to say it could go that far, but it could go that far. It could. We don't know because what other options do they have via free agency? And they're not going to rush a trade. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thought. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, it's the trade deadline now. That's where we are.
Yeah.
Like I said, you've seen a day or two ago where the Pistons were the top team, pretty much for guys like Bol. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it tells you what type of market this is. And then, like I said the other day, it's look at the free agency, the free agents that we coveted. You know what I'm saying, this year. It tells you the state of this free agency.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. It just wasn't great. But you had opportunities to maneuver some things and get some guys here. That Malik Monk thing just would have been huge.
Bro, it would have been.
It would have been, man.
Yeah. It would have gave us one of the best guard rotations in the East. 4 guard rotations in the East. I think that would really just give us a lot of options offensively. And then if it doesn't work out with some guys, you got assets that you can potentially move once again at the trade deadline. So, we'll see what happens. What are your thoughts on Caris? We were talking about Caris Levert a little bit. What are your thoughts on him with how he fits, how he may replace guys like Malik Beasley, THJ? People saying we're losing something and giving something, adding. So, what are your thoughts on that signing?
You may be, losing as far as the volume of shots and percentage of shots from 3-point land for somebody like Beasley or Tim Hardaway Jr., but Caris Levert he has a little bit of a different dimension to his game. You know what I'm saying? He shot 37% from 3, you know what I'm saying, which is average. But at the same time, like I said, he will attack the basket. He will try to put some pressure on your front court. He is going to attack. He is going to use the mid-range game. He'll come around some screens if you have to. This is a player that Bickerstaff, should be a little bit familiar with. So, like I said, it's just to think about that and, to wonder if he had any influence of bringing him here is something that I do want to find out because, like I said, he has a little bit of experience with him and I'm probably sure he knows how to use them. So, there is a positive to it. It's just not all negative. I know it's not a sexy name. I remember we got Tobias. It wasn't a sexy name. You know what I'm saying? Nice. And Bickerstaff changed that. You know what I'm saying? He got the best out of Tobias. So I'm going to give Bickerstaff a chance to be the great head coach that he is and try to get the best out of these guys.
So let's talk about Caris, his stats from last season. So last season he averaged 12 points, 3 boards, 3 assists on 46, 37, 71 splits in 27 minutes. So to your credit, and I was saying this earlier, he's not the shooter of a bees. Right. No. We understand that. But he shot the same percentage as THJ last year.
Right.
So it's not like he's just a terrible shooter. It's not like you're just giving up one thing for another thing. Like he's giving you a more well-rounded game. And I think that suits the team as a whole better, just having more options on the floor at one time. And I want to make a correction from last show because last show, I gotta correct this. Last show I talked about Levert's injury history and his availability. But after looking at his numbers again, I saw that he's actually been pretty healthy the last 3 years. I think last year he played 64 between Cleveland and Atlanta. And before that, he played 68. And before that, 74. So I want to make that clear because I did say last episode that I was a little bit concerned about his availability. But after going back and checking after a few comments I saw in the last video, you guys are right. He's been more healthy than I thought and available than I thought. So that's a plus too because we know last season the Pistons, outside of 1 or 2 guys and freak injuries and things like that, they were pretty healthy. And they had guys who played and wanted to play. So I like that. He's been healthy. And I think that bodes well for him as far as him being able to be impactful. What do you think about that?
Yeah, kind of, it's something that we've seen with guys over time, especially with injury history. He kind of changed his game up a little bit to where he's a little bit more, uh, I would say he has a little bit more of a laid back, comfortable type of game. When he first came into the league, wild child, just energy, trying to get to the basket and doo-doo's bad. That's the type of player he was. That guy out of Michigan that was drafted.
Right.
Now it's more like, we're coming around some screens, nice and easy work. You know what I'm saying? Top of the three, corner shots. It's more simple. It's a little bit easier to stay healthy when you play like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not saying that it's a bad thing that he's a lazy player. He just matured his game to the level to where he can take care of his body and stay out there on the court, be available. So, like I said, that'll be important for the Detroit Pistons to have these guys available, because that was one of our biggest issues going into late last year. Missing guys, man. So,
I like what Devon said here too. Levert is a THJ with size and playmaking, and that's the difference. He just gives you more than just shooting. Not quite the shooter, but gives you much more playmaking. THJ, he's a guy that likes to move without the basketball and get open, and then he's a catch and shoot guy. So, that was one of the things that limits your offense, is that you didn't have another ball handler out there with a Cade, and that's why he would get double teamed so much, because you had nobody else who was there to really make a play out of that if the shot isn't there. You know what I mean? So, I think it's really important that we made this move. I think he's going to surprise people, bro. And I really think that his style of play, you hit on it a little bit, but his style of play, I think it fits the Pistons. I think it fits, because just watching film, right? This dude loves to get out on the break. He loves to get out in transition. Whenever I was watching, I would see a turnover get created, whether it's him or somebody else. Bro, he's sprinting down the court. Like he's running a 40-yard dash. Like he's sprinting down the court, trying to find the opportunity whenever possible to get an easy layup, dunk, or three ball. And in the half court, like you mentioned, he can play on, he can play off the ball. He's really good cutter. Really good finisher, which Tim Hardaway did that too. He's a good cutter, but he's a good finisher at the rim, is Caris Levert. And he can also handle the ball for you. He can get his own shot for you when he needs to. And watching him with the Cavs, who have a similar backcourt as the Pistons do as far as having two multi-dimensional guards, he played really well with both Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. He was able to play off of both of those guys. So that showed me he has an ability to kind of get in where he fits in, to be able to adapt to whoever is on the court with him and kind of like plug the holes that are there, and he kind of just adds into the team, kind of lifts their floor and makes him a better product and makes him run better as a team on the offensive end.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, when you look at a Duncan Robinson, I don't think I need to introduce him to the Pistons fans. I'm probably sure y'all remember some of those games where he shot the lights out and destroyed us.
Facts.
Especially with buzzer beaters and everything else. So, like I said, you should be familiar with both of these guys. I mean, this is Michigan, right?
Right. So, the Michigan Pistons.
Right. We know what we getting out of these dudes, man. I did want to bring something up, man, and it's obviously another hot topic. Sophie Cunningham, man.
Okay.
Yeah. What she said about the shot. About Detroit.
Oh man. I saw it briefly. You can brief everybody else who missed it. Like I saw it in passing. I didn't get a chance to really break it down. What was said? Give us the context. Give us the backdrop on what happened and what was said about Detroit.
So they were interviewing Sophie, and they were asking her what she thought about the league expanding and things like that. And man, she just basically said, there are so many better opportunities like Miami and this place and that place. And at the end of the statement, she says, I don't know how many people are going to be happy about playing in Detroit and Cincinnati. She didn't even say Cleveland, how disrespectful she is.
Wow.
She said Cincinnati. And, I'm like, man, all of the support that everybody was giving this young lady, what I'm saying, playing with the fever. And now you see who she really is. You know what I'm saying? You see who she really is and what she think about your city. Detroit is one of the largest and one of the best sports cities in the entire country.
Come on, man.
In the entire country. We're talking about the Shock, who won 3 championships. and
in 6
also
years.
broke records for attendance.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
We support our WNBA team, unlike some of the places where y'all playing.
Facts.
And then that's what you get on. That's what's called being socially unaware, and that's what she is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It would be for a player like her to come here. It would be such a culture shock. You know?
Oh my God. Oh my God. She wouldn't know what to do, bro.
Yeah, it was embarrassing, man. She embarrassed herself, and now she got to deal with it, man, because people are after her right now.
They should be. Yeah, man. Talking like that, like she's probably never even been here before. You know what I'm saying? She's probably never stepped foot in the state of Michigan ever. So, yeah, just speaking ignorantly, don't really know about it. Sometimes it's better. Some things are better left unsaid, and I think that's one of those things. So, yeah, Dominique said you was wilding on Twitter talking about Sophie. I didn't see what you said.
I don't want to say it on here. But
it was like that, huh?
It was a good joke. You know what I'm saying?
You was crashing out.
Yeah, I wasn't crashing out. It was just a good joke.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people agree with it because it got a lot of likes too. I took it down though. I took it down. I ain't want to be too mean.
Man, you better stand on that.
Listen, I said she looked like she say the N word.
Bro.
Like, and if you think I'm lying, go look at her.
Time.
Yeah, if you think I'm lying, go look at her.
Man, I hope not, bro. That's a whole yeah. We'll
the way
see,
she was talking was the entitled type of, little mixed Karen-ish type of.
Really?
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
so,
all the ingredients.
2029, let's have them booze ready.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have them booze ready. And I know whoever's on that team in 2029 is going to be ready to go at her head.
Yeah.
I already know that. So that's going to be interesting to see. I wish it was so far away. But congrats to the Detroit. They're not shocked technically yet. They got to get that patent. They got to get that name. But it's looking like they're going to be returning to Detroit in 2029 with that name. Returning the Detroit Shock, where they never should have left. Talked about that last show. So much storied history here. Winning 3 rings in 6 years. It's ridiculous. The most overlooked dynasty in WNBA history, in my opinion. Right? Mm-hmm. You had the Comets. You had the Sparks. And you had the Shock right there.
Yeah.
Right there. So, yeah. Yeah, man. I appreciate you bringing that to the forefront. I didn't get a chance to read that personally, or to see that personally. So now I'm going to check it out for sure. And I'm going to try to find that deleted tweet. Don't ask me how, but I'm going to try to find it. So we'll see. Real quick, Markel says, Katie Smith was goated. Yes, she was. At one point in time, Katie Smith was the leading scorer in history, Brian vibes, for the WNBA. She was a straight bucket. Like, not just a shooter, but a scorer. She was ridiculous. So shout out to the WNBA and the Detroit Shock for coming back home. All right, man. Let's get back to the guys you're talking about. A few more things on Caris Levert, because I am really expecting him to have a big year, bro. Like I really think he's gonna have a big year for this team. Did you know that last year he scored 1,546 points off the bench? Or the last 2 seasons, he had 1,546 points off the bench. That's 5th most during that span. So he's very capable.
That's what we need, because like I said, one of the things about the Pistons, man, is our bench. You know what I'm saying? Our bench was able to come in and do some things.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to have that in order to win, especially in the East, because we just saw that, you know what I'm saying, going all the way up into the finals. Yeah. So you got to have that depth coming off the bench, and guys got to be able to put the ball in the basket, man. And I think we got the right guys to do that, especially with the ability to stagger, Ivy and Cade along with some of that second unit time. I think it's going to be huge for us.
It is.
It's going to be huge.
Life with Chris, shout out to you, bro. Says, speaking to what she said, how do we get that negative narrative off the city to make players want to come here? I don't think it's going to carry over.
No.
Because most people know.
Yeah.
Most people know. I'm sure a lot of WNBA players are kind of like cringy when she said that. Like, even if you feel that way, come on, bro. What are you doing saying that? So I don't think it's going to have any impact. I think if anything, it's going to change the narrative on how she's perceived more than how Detroit is perceived.
She's like that girl that lives in Beverly Hills that never been outside of Beverly Hills.
Right.
So that's just her. She's individual, when it comes to that type of thing. It's a pretty good amount of WNBA players that know the history of the shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They grew up watching it. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we'll be fine, man. We won't have issues getting talent here. But the question is, who do we bring in as coach and GM?
Right. So I know you mentioned Cheryl Swoops earlier. to go along with Neil Ivy. Shout out to Neil and Jaden and Javen, all of our fam over there. Yeah, I want to see the other Cheryl though. I want to see Cheryl Ford. Yeah. I want to see her. I think I mentioned it before, but we collabed in an IG post about a year ago. You know, and she was like, I can coach. You know, and so I definitely think she would be, as far as a mentality and a culture standpoint, I think she'd be great for this team. So we'll see. Got another comment, super chat from Will. Appreciate you, Will. Shout out to you. Sophie he said, shut the freak up. What's up, King and Deuce? Good pickups. Let's go Pistons and Tigers. William, I agree. If you have a question, William, it's kind of our rule here. If you send a super chat and it's a statement, you have the ability to actually ask a question to go along with that. So I appreciate your support as always. And Will, if you have a question, throw it in here, bro. No super chat needed. Appreciate you. Okay, so you mentioned Coach Bickerstaff, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned the history with the guy that we added with Caris Levert. And one thing that we know about JB Bickerstaff is he excels at putting players in the best position to be successful based on their game, based on their strengths, based on their weaknesses. And going into the last season, he knew that Beasley was at his best when he's moving and catching and shooting. And, you know, that's same with TSJ. He knew those things. Those guys aren't creators, right? And coach had them playing their role at their best to make them successful. And he did that without even having coached them in the past. So, like you mentioned, guess who Caris Levert played for the last 3 seasons before getting traded to the Hawks this past year? I wonder who that was. Who might that be? That was Coach JB and his bigger staff with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, like you said, you hit it on the head, bro. He knows what he has in that guy.
Yeah.
He's very familiar with this game. He knows how to get the best out of him, and he proved it when he was there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was actually Coach Bickerstaff, part of that, whether he spearheaded it, put it in Trajan's ear, or at least pushed for the Pistons to bring him here. I wouldn't be surprised because he knows who he's getting. He knows the player he's getting. He knows how he would fit in the system. He knows that he would be able to adapt to a system quickly by having played having played for him. So I think all those things, like when I hear things like that, I kind of relent. I kind of concede. Like, okay, all right, you coached him, so you know what you're getting, and you know what you want for your team.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely, man. Like I said, that is a very key thing. Familiarity with somebody is huge. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the head coaching department, like I said, you got players, you know their tendencies, you know how they fit. You don't have to try to figure things out. When you switching teams and switching players onto your team, that helps out a lot because you're taking chemistry away, but at the same time, you're bringing in some familiar chemistry to what you already know. So that may move things along a little bit faster as far as them getting used to being out there on the court. So, like I said, it's always good to bring a player that you're familiar with. And I'm probably sure that JB has some influence on some of the things that happen. So absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and just think about, like, for all the fans who are disappointed or underwhelmed, let's not have a short memory. Just think about how frustrated we were this time last year. Just 1 year ago, bro, we were coming off a historic losing season, no coach, just had a new GM, and Tracy had just gotten here. And our big splashes were what? Bees, THJ, and Tobias Harris. And people were losing their minds, especially coming off of what happened last season. They want to see a big splash. And at the time, I remember how upset a lot of fans were. But look how it worked out. Look how all those guys exceeded all expectations. Because why? Because coach put them in position to be successful again. And he did it with players that he had not coached before. So if he can get the best out of those guys, why wouldn't he be able to do that with Caris Levert, who played good basketball for him and understands what he likes to do? How many players on his team last season did we see, bro, have career seasons, or even if not career seasons, resurgent, bounce back seasons? You can go up and down the list. Cade, career year, All NBA, All Star, right? Got the $40 million bump because he made All NBA. Shout out to you, right? Jaden, on his way to a career year. Asar, showing what he can be and what his ceiling can be, making strides. Tobias,
career year defensively. Like nobody saw this from Tobias ever, anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Duren, career year. Slow start, career year. Beasley, career year. Like all these guys up and down the roster, save for me, one or two guys had one of the better seasons, if not best season, under Bickerstaff. So there's no reason to think that Caris Levert is not going to follow suit and have a great season under Coach Bickerstaff. It just makes sense to me that he would bring him here, considering his skill set and his familiarity. It just makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So, like I said, however we did it, you know, a lot of people was like, why we use the MLE on him and all of this, whatever, all the politics. Hey, it ain't my money. I don't care. It's Langdon's job. He gets paid, you know, the millions to do it. And we're just going to hold him to that. You know what I'm saying? You know, all of the logistics and everything else. I'm not even going to get into that right now. Yeah. I'm going to trust what we did for right now. And hopefully, you know, we can come out to the season and have a decent start. And get some boxes checked as far as how healthy Ivy is going to be coming back and, you know, what type of production he's going to get. You know, that's the biggest thing, and what you're going to get out of guys like Bobby Klintman, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he step up and be that other four, you know what I'm saying, that we need. Yeah. So those type of things, I want those questions answered in the first part of the season. And then if we need to make a few more moves during the trade deadline, so be it. Yeah. I agree with that. The last thing that sold me, or that is selling me, I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm getting closer and closer to that point when it comes to this particular signing, is just listening to those around him and what they had to say about him. Yeah. I think that's how you can really learn about a player too. I got two quotes. They're really short. The first one is from Coach, right? When he was coaching him, one thing he said about Caris Levert is that he is really good at understanding what we want to do. And he said he's sacrificing to create for others, sacrificing his offense to create for others. And I think he's doing a great job of that. So the selfless attitude that he displayed, I think that's important because that's how the Pistons like to play, moving the ball, things like that. And then also Evan Mobley, who was his teammate for a few years when Evan first came into the league, had this to say when asked about Levert's playmaking. He said, he just makes the right play over and over again. Anytime he's seen a guy open, he passes it, and guys are knocking it down. If guys are open, he scores continuously, making the right plays over and over again. I mean, for all y'all saying that he was washed and this and that, I mean, it don't sound like it. And from what I saw, it don't look like it. So I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this season, bro. What you got? Hey, y'all, King is going to miss him. You know what's crazy? To start the season, I was the one all over him, bro. Like, you was like, all right, bro, it's early in the season, chill, relax, you know, whatever. I was just it seemed like every post-game show, bro, I was going at him and like, I wasn't even trying to. It was just like, bro. It was so many times it was just like, bro. It was so many times at LCA when the Pistons are on the run and they got the momentum and he's got the ball and he would mess it wide open three when they're ready to explode, timeout of the team, or he would try to dribble and trap and just stifle the momentum. Yeah. It happened so often. And that's why, like, I was on him so often early because he was just hurting the team a lot. And you were the one like, you know, let's give it a little time. But then, like, come January, February, you was on my train, bro. Yeah, man. It's to the point where, you know, I'm watching the game and, you know, my wife will look over and be like, hey, your phone went off. I'm like, that's just Deuce typing in Montecchio. You done did something.
Every game, it seemed like. Who was your guy? Because you were texting me about somebody and I was texting you about somebody. I can't even remember who it was for you.
I can't even remember who it was.
I can't even remember. But at this point, it don't even matter because they probably got better as the year went on, like everybody else on the team team did. But that's tough, man. So, like, so do you have like I know it's off top, but how do you kind of see the rotation kind of playing out? We know we got the starters. We got Cade, we got Jaden, we got Asar, got Tobias as of right now, and we got JD. As far as the bench, how do you see that kind of playing out as far as the depth chart, or not even the depth chart, but as far as the rotations, whatever? Yeah.
Caris is definitely going to be the ball handler. Caris, Duncan, Ron. Yeah. The question mark is the four. Yes. You know what I'm saying? That's the question mark is the four, man, because that's the biggest question because we know Stu is the backup. So the four is the question.
The way we're currently constructed as of right now, right? now that we've made these moves in the cap space, I don't know how much we have left. You guys can check. I know it's a lot going on, but you guys can check there. I don't know how much we have left. But let's just say we don't have that much left to make any needle moving moves as far as cap space. Are you comfortable going into the season day one with Tobias as your starting four?
Yeah, I am. And if I have to, hey, Bobby gonna have to be the backup four. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If they feel like he can step in and do it, because you got to have somebody. I mean, Bobby can be the backup four.
I think so too.
As I said, summer league just got that much more important.
Yeah, and I want to give Tobias credit because he did play well. Yeah. Last year, especially the second half of the season, going against a lot bigger guys. But I don't want my four having to go against a bigger guy every night. I don't want any of my guys having to go against a bigger guy every night.
In the East, that's exactly what we're gonna have to do.
Yes.
That's why I said I don't know, man. If the Pistons, I don't know. We got to get another big. But you look at guys like Sass and them; those guys are gonna be out the rotation.
I was gonna ask you about that. What's your pulse? What's your pulse on Sass as of right now? Because now our guard situation has been very much solidified at this point, especially getting Chaz Lanier. Shout out to Chaz
Lanier, because you probably gonna try to find some minutes for him too. So I think Sass is he's the odd man out.
Yeah, I think so. Unfortunately, I think so. Unfortunately too, because he's a very talented player, but he's a very good one-on-one player.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like schoolyard, ain't nobody trying to face him. Like, cause he can just get buckets on buckets on buckets, but he's having trouble, it seems like, really adapting to the free-flowing, ball-moving, player movement action that the Pistons do here. We've seen, he was they tried him at point guard at times, and he had moments, but he also had moments. You know what I mean? So I feel if he was better equipped to play the point guard spot more consistently and under control, I think he may have had a bigger role. But because he hasn't done that, and because he's not the biggest guard in the world already, because think about it, we're suddenly big now as far as our backcourt. We got Kate at 6'6", Jaden at 6'4", 6'5", Caris Levert 6'6", so that's an advantage. That's an advantage. So unfortunately for him, I don't think he's going to have a role. I don't know if he's going to get moved, but because he's only making I think $2 million a year. So he's not even hampering us or anything, but I just don't know if there's going to be a role for him. And honestly, bro, at this point, this is going to be year 3 for him? I would rather see him get an opportunity somewhere else for his sake. Not even Pistons-wise.
Go to a young, rebuilding team. Give him an opportunity, man.
Yeah, give him a chance.
Like I said, it's him playing a couple minutes here and there, man. That's not nothing. You need to go somewhere where he can actually play. Yeah, and it's like I said, it's not from the Pistons standpoint I'm talking about because he's not really hurting the team as far as our cap. It's just he's just sitting on the bench. He's just sitting there, and I think he probably will be more even this year because of the additions we made to our backcourt. So, yeah, it's unfortunate for him. Hopefully he can carve out a role somewhere else. That's kind of why I would like to see him, if the Pistons intend to do it, move him for our sake, obviously, but also just to give him a chance, man. Give him a chance to go somewhere else. Give him a chance to go make mistakes on a team that's not trying to win right now, or even on a team that's trying to win right now. Just give him an opportunity to be able to get some minutes and get a chance to be able to develop. That's what I want to see for him. Yeah. Like I said, we just see what Trajan decide to do, man. And question, do you feel like as of right now, it's not over, we just started free agency, do you feel like this team right now is better or worse than the team that played their last game in Game 6 against the Knicks in the playoffs last year? No right or wrong answer. Just in chat, let us know too. Do you think the Pistons today are better than they were at the end of last season when they were in the playoffs? What the measuring scale is Beasley. I think we're somewhere close to in the middle, somewhere around the same. Okay. Because, like I say, you losing Beasley, which is big time shooting, but you also adding some guys who can one guy who can shoot, and another guy that has a different dimension to him. Mm-hmm. I think we're just a slight tad bit better because of that. Okay. And it looks like you obviously gonna have Ivy them back. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, better. Looks like everybody here agrees with you, bro. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Now, of course, there is no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious what you guys think because we got to see it first. Right. We got a lot of moving pieces now. Guys that we lost, guys that came in. Go ahead. On paper, looks like we're slightly better. I want to say this too because this is an interesting point from Brad B. Just because of experience. We always talk about King what?
developing what? The young core. Developing the young core, seeing growth from the young core. I heard people saying our free agents additions, at least 2 of them this offseason, are going to be Jaden Ivey and Isaiah Stewart, as far as getting them guys back. So I like this comment because I think that we're going to see. I know we're excited about the new additions and how they fit and the bigger names, things like that, Duncan Robinson. But let's not sleep on the growth of this young team. You know what I mean? Let's not sleep on how they're in the gym, probably right now, working on the games, working together as to how they can get better. And they've had the experience of being in the playoffs last year. So they have that under their belt. So I think come around April of next year, they'll be better equipped to perform in the playoffs. That's just my thought, just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I totally agree. Like I said, and who's to know, we may still do something. So
yeah, right. It's gonna be fun to see, man. I got a few comments in here that I see talking about Asar. If Asar makes his jump shot respectable, look out. Yeah, absolutely. Him and Ron. Like, I'm really hoping that those 2 guys are able to develop their jump shot. Not even the 3 ball, just working their way out. We saw Ron, I posted the other day, Ron getting some work in the mid-range. I like that. You talked about that with Isaiah Stewart a couple years ago. Like, bro, just work your way out. Right. Instead of jumping to the 3-point line. So I think just starting there, we saw start doing that a little bit, getting to that little fadeaway jumper that he likes in the lane. And it's good to see that Ron is doing the same thing, trying to work their way out to the 3-point line. So I think those 2 being able to expand their game a little bit. I saw somebody say in the chat that they're calling for Ron, and you can call yourself out, whoever it was. They're calling for Ron. They think he's going to shoot 35% next year from 3. I don't know about that. That's a big jump. But to Ron's credit, a lot of his percentage last year was affected by how poorly he shot from 3 to start the season. Second half of the season, he had a lot of offers. Not a lot, but he had a few offers, like 0 for 4, 0 for 3, 0 for 5. But later on in the season, he was 2 for 5, 3 for 5. So I think he's going to be an improved shooter. If he can get to 35% next year, man, I mean, are we talking about a starter at the 3? I'm just saying, like, I really think whoever is able to show that growth quicker may have the advantage, bro, because we know Cade needs shooting and we know that we need defense.
Right. We
know they both have the defense. Now, who can provide the shooting? I think it may come down to that. I could be wrong, right? I may get hammered for that, but I really think it's going to come down to that, bro, when it comes. And it may be fluid. We don't know. But I think it's going to come down to that as far as who gets that nod. But if they could both get to close to 30% at least this coming season, that's going to take the Pistons a long way, bro.
Right.
It's going to take them a long way. So we'll see, man. We got to wait and see what happens. But that's all I got, man. Anything else you want to add on there, bro?
No, I'm solid.
So look, guys, we are going to end it there, man. We are going to keep you guys updated with anything else that happens. This has been a crazy day, man. Crazy day with news and everything that's going on. So wanted to get you guys all the information that we had. But yeah, so to recap, for anybody who missed the beginning of the show, the Pistons have moved on from Tim Hardaway Jr. They moved on from Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder, and Simone Fontecchio. And the new additions as of right now are Caris LeVert and Duncan Robinson. And of course, they brought back Paul Reed on a 2-year, $11 million deal. So as I mentioned, the Pistons still have some work to do, right, to bolster their roster. And after these free agent moves, I would imagine they are now looking to pivot to the trade market to upgrade their front court. So that's the hope. So now, like King said, we got to wait and see. So that is a wrap, guys, for this episode. What do you guys think of all the moves that have been made so far? Make sure you guys talk to us in the comments and let us know. Hope everybody has a great night. We appreciate you guys always showing love as usual, man. So we will talk to you guys soon when we have more updates. And y'all already know, man. Detroit versus everybody.
And when you knock me down, I'm getting back up. Cause when I step on the floor, you know your time's up. I'm on my way up and I'm not gonna stop. We headed straight to the top in the low. I gotta face it, I got no time to waste it.